Project Gemini.
Gemini was designed to develop and prove the technologies that we needed in order to go to the moon.
It was a bridge between a novice and knowing what you were doing in space. We had a guided reentry, we had fuel cells, we had to do EVA, extravehicular activity, on and on and on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Engines start, we have a liftoff.
Gemini flew 10 manned orbital flights in 1965 and 66. Its breakthroughs were impressive.
One of the big missions of the Gemini program was not only to maneuver in space, but to rendezvous in space.
Easier said than done. In space, the speed you fly affects the altitude you fly. Welcome to orbital mechanics.
Many of the techniques that we used in flying formation in an aircraft, fighter aircraft, just did not apply here. When you want to rendezvous with a spacecraft that's up in orbit, you put the vehicle you're launching into a low orbit, and therefore the period of the orbit is much shorter. So over a period of time, it starts catching up to that spacecraft in the higher orbit. It's very simple to describe, but very difficult to do.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition.
On December 4, 1965, astronauts Frank Borman and James Lovell reached orbit aboard Gemini 7. 11 days later, Wally Schirra and Tom Stafford followed in Gemini 6.
We've got a real liftoff.
Their mission, meet up in space.
27 seconds after the hour.
Just 3 hours after leaving the Earth, Gemini 6 crept up on Lovell and Borman.
Gemini 6 was coming up underneath for the final phase, and we could see, again, the thrusters firing and coming up slowly as the radar showed their range rate. They came up and slowly then stopped. We flew formation for a couple of hours back and forth to see how easy it was to get together and move apart and turn around and things of this nature.
For two spacecraft to dance around each other in orbit required fine-tuned direction and velocity control for each craft. Gemini capsules featured small thruster rockets which, after months of practice on the ground, enabled this control. Marking the birth of spacecraft pilotry, Gemini 6 and 7 came within 1 foot of each other.
They were right next to the other spacecraft. They were taking pictures of the other crew. And it was clear that we'd gotten to the point where had we had a docking system on those two ships, which they didn't have, we could have put them together and docked them.